Hey everybody, Jason and Jason. I've asked Jason Kent to join me this week for the three questions sit down. Just a short story. We're here at the Little Donut Factory, which is actually where I ended up being introduced to Jason, and he's been a big supporter of what I do and different mission trips, and always just a good resource due to his experience as far as mission work in Africa and things. So just thought it'd be cool to have him come on and just kind of ask me some questions.
Awesome. Yeah, and since you asked me to come up with questions, I did that. Um, so we met here. I don't know, it's a couple of years ago now.
Yeah.
After I'd come back from a trip to Africa, and I do some charity work there, and we got introduced because you have a big heart and you do some charity work as well. But this is a little bit of a transition that you're taking.
Mm-hmm.
I have been to Africa several times, but I've gone there a couple of weeks on the ground, learn things, be a part of it, and come back. You want to now immerse yourself in the middle of all that. So, why at this time in your life have you decided that I need to no longer be Hilliardite and I'm going Salvadoran?
Yeah. Great question. I've been asked that, and the only answer I can come up with, it's obviously, like you said, it's something that's close to my heart. I've been there a lot, built a lot of relationships with a lot of people, and for me, spiritually, I just feel like this is the time. I feel like this is something God's put on my heart that's probably been stirring inside of me longer than I wanted to acknowledge. And the Easter message that was at the church was just talking about being at the plate and swinging the bat. And I just feel like this is one of those opportunities to actually take a leap of faith, close my eyes, swing the bat, and see what happens. And, just the things that have come into place, including conversations with you since I've kind of gone public with it. It's just been reassuring to me that I'm taking the right steps, because people just keep getting on board with it, and people just keep supporting it, and people just keep saying, it doesn't surprise me you're doing that. So it just kind of shows me that I'm going in the right direction.
Yeah, well, it didn't shock me when you said you were going. I figured you would take a step like that at some point in your life. I've been on the ground in places where there's a lot of poverty, or where you're trying to make a change, you're trying to help, and every time I've gone back, I've learned another sort of level of what I should be thinking versus where I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
The first time I went, I was bringing a gift, a machine to help a leather shop out, and it seemed to me Africa appropriate. It seemed to me technology that would help somebody. And then later, I spent more time there doing things that were less about what I had originally gone there for, and more about educating people on technologies that are simple to understand and really easily to implement, it like biogas. That's the kind of stuff that I think I spent most of my mental time trying to figure out. How do I take them to the next thing?
Mm-hmm.
So you're going there and you're going to be plugged into it. So what's the next thing, and where do you hope to take them?
Yeah, that's a great viewpoint on that, because I've thought back through a lot of the trips, and we had a trip meeting last week for a group that's going in July, and hearing the new people talk that have never done anything like this before, preparing for their first trip, it reminded me a lot of what I thought I was going to do on my first trip.
Right.
I tell them that it's the Superman mentality. We as Americans going as Superman, we're like, I can fix all this, and you get there and you realize, wow, this is a lot more than I thought it was. And then also through that growth, I've learned that it's not so much what I think they need, it's listening and building those relationships to find out what they need,
Right.
to understand their world that they live in. So for me, I guess the next thing is to just focus on what the organization we partner with does daily, and how I can use resources that I have and resources that I have here in the States to further grow that operation. Not try to change it, not try to reinvent the wheel, but just try to stand beside them and say, okay, what small implementations can I make, or resources can I tap into? Like you said, something simple, simple technology, simple things that we could use to just improve their daily operation.
Yeah. I mean, you've talked to me about some of the things they do, and I'm gardening is close to me. In fact, I've got my compost happens shirt on. And we've talked a little bit about how they've got a great garden operation and stuff there.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to, through this video series and through this relationship that we have, see what changes I can help you understand to bring them.
Right. Right.
So, as many people know, and not so many people know in the U.S., everywhere in the world, education is expensive. In the U.S., education is expensive. It comes out of our taxes, but we all value it so much that we're happy to pay into it, and we build this system. But in a lot of places, places I work, places you're going, education is not a given. So, having said that, education usually is the kind of bottom foundation, the place that everything lands. So what education are you bringing them? How are you going to be giving them either access to a different kind of education or access to an education that is going to make sense to them?
Yeah, you're exactly right. There, it really tore my heart up last year. I got to sit down and interview some of the girls who are going to be coming to the girls' home that they just recently built and are getting ready to open in June. And to sit with these 20-something-year-old girls that have 2, 3, 4 kids apiece, and to find out that the highest education any of them had was like 3rd grade.
Wow.
It really blew my mind, because I can't imagine trying to be a mother, let alone a single mother, trying to raise kids on a 3rd grade education, as we know a 3rd grade education.
Right, yeah.
Street smart, knowledge smart, these people, they're not stupid or unintelligent at all. It's just a different kind of education.
Right.
So for me, I think it will be to stand beside Daniel and those guys again as they bring these girls into this home and help try to educate them. English is huge down there. There's a lot of call centers that are hiring, which is a good job. Not manual labor. You can actually get benefits. You can have things. Yeah. So Daniel recently started an adult ESL education class that I hope I can help. I speak pretty good English. I don't, so I hope
speak good enough to work in a call center.
Yeah, I hope I hope I can at least help him teach that. Through different partnerships here with different teachers that have contacted me. Possibly get some trips with some teachers down there to help, great, with new teaching methods and things like that. This last trip, I was exposed to some of the same issues that we have here in the States as far as autism and kids on different spectrums and special needs children, that the systems there don't really have a place for.
Yeah, there's no, you're either fit or you don't fit.
Yeah, so it's, it's even more discouraging for those kids who don't fit that mold.
Right.
If they're lucky, they may only make it to the 5th or 6th grade anyways.
Right.
But if they're a child that has special needs, they may not make it to school at all.
Right. Yeah.
Just because there's no place for them. So I'm hoping that through those networks that I could, bring some teachers, bring some new teaching methods, bring some. Daniel just asked me to bring him some English education books, like workbooks and things like that. So yeah, just to kind of partner with him, because I agree with what you said. The education is the foundation, and along with that also goes a child sponsorship. Part of the money that people that decide to sponsor kids, that goes to help keep that kid in school.
Yep.
And just the fact that, like I said in my first video, just the fact that somebody here in America is willing to stand in their corner, you can't put a price tag on that to those people. It's so special to know that they've got somebody in the States rooting for them and supporting them and writing them letters,
right,
and being able to buy their school books so
and
they can continue to go to school.
Something to eat today.
That's they've got food, they've got resources that a lot of other people there don't have. So it's not a expensive sponsorship, but it really does make a difference. So
yeah, I sponsor a child in Guatemala, and obviously we sponsor kids in Africa, and I mean it does make a huge difference just to be able to, every day have lunch. For somebody that's wondering where their next meal's coming from, at least once a day they're eating. you know, the one kid that I sponsored in Guatemala, I'd say over the time that I sponsored him, he grew from being much shorter than his mom and dad to taller than his mom and dad. And I have a feeling I can attribute it to nutrition.
Sure.
He ate more.
Sure. Sure.
You know, the great thing about a program like that is, you know, when you're in school like that, that's where all the medical volunteers go.
Right.
Right. You go to a school, there's a bunch of kids there,
Yep.
you know.
Yep.
And those kids that can make it to school, they get access to all this stuff. It's really a blessing.
Right.
Yeah. That's
Awesome.
good stuff.
Awesome. Well, thanks, man.
Yeah, no
for
problem.
doing this. You know, just want to give a shout out to Jordan and the guys here at the Lil Donut Factory. This little counter that we're sitting at is, you'll often find it with a piece of white paper that people have scribbled things, children have been drawing on. It's just a really cool place to sit. And, you know, I can't name on both hands how many people I've sat here and had conversations with, including Jason and just the other people I've met and been able to do different things with, different opportunities for me. And I hope I've given some other people some opportunities. So if you're in Hilliard and you haven't had one of these donuts yet, I don't know how you live here, but you should definitely come check it out and just sit down next to somebody, start a conversation, read some stuff on the paper, have a laugh, maybe get a little bit of knowledge. You never know. So
You know, you'll probably end up sitting next to me.
right. See one of the Jasons, which, you know, as Tim likes to say, right now, currently, we are 2/3 of the way to a genius. Jason Hissong, if you're watching, if you were here, 3 Jasons makes a genius. So just in case you guys didn't know that. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching, and I appreciate the support, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks.